Who the f*** are you?
You're my Atari!
There yet.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Game Closet. A fan of the channel wrote in and asked this question. Dear Dr. Scott, I just left the priesthood after 18 years and I am bored silly. Could you recommend a retro gaming console and a great game or two to start me off? Sincerely, Theodore M. Cauliflower. Well, Ted, can I call you Ted? I decided to team up with some YouTube friends to help me answer this question, and maybe after you hear what they have to offer, you may just have the divine inspiration to start you on your gaming journey. And as a reminder, retro is generally considered anything 20 plus years old. First up, we're heading over to my good friend Mike from Mike's Gaming Gala. Take it away, Mike.
Dr. Scott calls and the internet answers. Hi everyone, I'm Mike from Mike's Gaming Gala, and if you've watched my channel, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of the second generation of consoles. I love the Atari 2600, the Intellivision, the ColecoVision, the Vectrex. However, if I had to recommend a console to introduce retro gaming to a modern gamer, it would have to be the NES. I know, it's a basic choice, but let's be honest, there's a reason that the NES is as far back as a lot of retro gamers go. For a modern gamer, there's a lot that they'll find familiar here. First, we have a simple controller with a D-pad and face buttons. No joystick, disc, or number pad here. It's also the birthplace of a lot of characters and franchises that continue to this day. Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Mega Man, Castlevania, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest. You like arcade ports? We've got them. Platformers? Tons. Puzzle games, RPGs, shmups, racing games? Seriously, the NES has a game library that you could spend a long time digging into. Now, as for one game I'd recommend they'd start with, I've got to be basic again and say Super Mario Bros. 3. It's one of my personal favorites, but above that, it's very approachable. Even novice gamers should be able to get through the first few worlds before coming across any potentially frustrating difficulty. And yet, it ramps up so that real skill is required to win. Thankfully, in this one, you have a couple of continues to play with, so you can play a good amount of time before you have to start over again. So yeah, for someone new to retro gaming, I think this is a great start. After you've explored the NES though, come on over to the dark side and join us in the land of joysticks and number pads.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Radbash Gaming. Special shout out to Scott from Game Closet for having me on another collab. In this one, we're supposed to talk about a retro game console and a retro game to kick off someone's retro game collection. I love the idea behind this. I think that's fantastic. So for me, being a huge fan of PlayStation, I had to go with the PS2. I really feel like the PS2 had a wide variety of games that can hit any genre, any fan. You had RPGs, you had retro style pixel games, you had horror games, action games, platformers. It was one of the best consoles, and there are so many games that you could get for it that would be great to start building a collection for. But one game in specific I think you should buy is Kingdom Hearts 1. In Kingdom Hearts, you take on the role of Sora, and you go to different Disney worlds and team up with Donald and Goofy and Aladdin and Jack Skellington and fight Disney villains like Oogie Boogie, Ursula, Jafar. I really like this game, and I really feel like it's best to start off a retro game collection because it hits so many different fan bases. You can hit the Disney fans, you can hit the Final Fantasy fans, you could hit the RPG, JRPG fans. There's so many aspects to this game that really bring it in. This is one of my favorite franchises, and this is my favorite game. This is top 10. It's like number 2. It always ties with number 1 for Dark Cloud, but it is one of my favorite games of all time. So there you have it. Thanks again, Scott, for having me on. Again, I'm Radbash Gaming. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and remember, stay radical.
What's up, everybody? You got the Video Game Votary here. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Scott for having me be a part of this video. If I was to start a retro gaming collection, I would select the Nintendo Wii. And as some of you may know, at one point I did have a complete North American Wii library. So I'm going to give you 2 games to start your collection off if you're going for a Wii collection. Now, I'm not going to choose the typical games like Super Mario Galaxy or Mario Kart. We're going to go in a different direction. So game number 1, we're going to pick what you see right there in the back, Wario Land Shake It. It's a fantastic platformer. It's exclusive to the Wii console. Very underrated. Excellent artwork, great gameplay style. And then, how often do you see Wario outside of games on your handhelds like the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, things of that nature? We did get Wario Land on the GameCube, but Wario Land Shake It is for sure an underrated game and one that I highly recommend starting off your retro game collection for the Nintendo Wii. The other game I want to give you is Tatsunoko versus Capcom for the Wii. That's also exclusive to the Wii. It's an excellent fighting game, very underrated, and a game you would not expect to be on the Nintendo Wii. And that's the only way you could play it. Fantastic game, one of the best fighting games ever created. You have a insane roster that you could pick from Mega Man to, of course, your favorite Capcom characters, and then from your other franchises that are either lesser known or you don't see as often. But those are my choices if I am starting a retro game collection for the Nintendo Wii. Again, thank you to Dr. Scott for having me be a part of this video.
Real quick, smash that like button and drop a comment at the end of the video with 2 retro games you would recommend. Here's Gamer Ahmer.
Hey guys, it's Gamer Ahmer here, and today we're talking about 2 games that we recommend on some retro systems. And I would have to choose the Nintendo 64. This is by far one of my favorite systems to play, one that I love collecting for, and this game right here, we have Sprocket. Well, you might know it as Rocket Robot on Wheels. This is the prototype game that actually made me fall in love with this fantastic, very underrated 3D platformer. This is so unique, it's so cute, there's just so much going on, and I really feel like this is a great time. There's so much to explore in this game, so much to collect. Some people like that, others don't. But I just love exploring and just trying to see everything that's going on, all of these different puzzles, and I really feel like the controller makes very well use for this particular game. Just a really great one that you absolutely have to try out on the Nintendo 64, and then of course this game. Now, people always say that Mario Kart 64 is better, but I absolutely love Diddy Kong Racing. I feel like this is one that was just so fantastic back in the day. I absolutely loved exploring, I loved how beautiful this was, and I felt like it was great on the Nintendo 64. It really made use of everything that the, Nintendo 64 had to offer, and I just love how you have these carts, you have these planes, you have these like hovercrafts. Just so cool to see everything that this game has to offer, all of the different characters, and just all of the unique features. Just not another Mario Kart racer, and it's really great to kind of jump into different things. So I want to know, what are your games on the Nintendo 64 that you must play and that someone has to play?
Hey, Dr. Scott, thank you so much for including me here on this video for Game Closet. I really do appreciate it. And of course, I have a favorite game that I would like to talk about, and it's not a popular game. In fact, some might actually watch this video and say I'm crazy in suggesting this game. And that game, especially since I'm going for the complete North American collection, so I have my experience, is Castlevania II Simon's Quest. Believe it or not, this is my favorite game, and I don't know if it's just because it holds the nostalgia. This was the first Castlevania game I ever got, and I fell in love with the series, or because it was so challenging, and I got to the certain part where you had to go get the nail of Dracula, and you had to kneel down, and the gondola came, and it took me forever to figure that out. This game still holds a special place in my heart, and I know a lot of people didn't like it, the constant, the lights go dark, and then, all these zombies come out in the town, and then it comes back up, and it's, the curse is over. To this day, I'm still a huge Castlevania fan, and I really wish Nintendo would bring out another one on the Switch. I know we've gotten some different ones that have come out for, like, the PlayStation 3. We've gotten ones for the Xbox 360. Heck, we even had one for an iOS and Android device that came out, I believe, in 2021. I want a full-blown Nintendo Castlevania game to come out on the Switch too. But for this video, this is my favorite. And if I honestly had to say, for people that are looking for favorite games, I can't go wrong. Like, I didn't have Castlevania 1 first. I had Castlevania 2, and then I got Castlevania 3. So any of these 3 is a great way to start your journey to retro and collecting. But honestly, can't go wrong. If you want a challenge, you like slaying zombies and vampires, Castlevania 2 is where it's at. I really want to give a huge shout out to Dr. Scott over at Game Closet. Thank you so much for including me in this collaboration. Guys, make sure you check me out on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/thetechbuzz, where I cover all this and much, much more. Till next time, back to you, Dr. Scott.
What's up, everybody? Mystacles here, and big thanks to Dr. Scott for inviting me to be here today. I love doing these collabs, and we got a pretty cool question going on, too. If I were to recommend one console and up to 2 games for a new or returning collector to retro games, what console would that be? And only one comes to mind, the Sega Genesis. And there's lots of reasons why I would recommend the Sega Genesis to somebody. Pricing wise, it's super cheap. Price starting has it at $50 right now, loose, $100 complete in box, and you can probably find it cheaper than that out in the wild, probably with some games and stuff even too. Reliability, the Model 2 is super reliable. They hardly ever break down. Model 1, it has some extra cool features, especially if you find the one that says high definition graphics on the front. But they're a little bit less reliable. Not really a lot. I mean, I'm not saying they break down very much, really, but all reliable models, really. But Model 2 is probably going to be the one you run across the most. And availability, like, they're everywhere. Like, yeah, you can go to any flea market, just about any retro game store. You're going to find a Model 2 Genesis for sure. The games, super good games for them. There's a lot of cheap games for them. Some of the games that are more expensive for the SNES are cheaper on the Genesis. And what 2 games would I choose though? So the first one on my list, Streets of Rage. So if you're not aware of the Streets of Rage series, it's an infamous beat 'em up starting off on the Sega Genesis, leading up into the modern era with Streets of Rage 4. But I feel like it really peaked here on Streets of Rage 2. The graphics are great. The physics are great in the game. The hitboxes, movement, attacks. There's lots of different attacks. 2-player, lots of different stages and everything. Different types of enemies, bosses. The music is out of this world. So, for the price range for this game goes for, if you're gonna get a Sega Genesis, you're not gonna feel bad about getting Streets of Rage 2. And while there's many capable platformers on the Sega Genesis I could choose for my next title, I'm going to go ahead and pick Toe Jam and Earl, Panic on Funkatron. Panic on Funkatron, while being different from the first Toe Jam and Earl, I feel is almost the better installment of the two. And it completely embodies the 90s to me. It's grit, it's comedy, it's zaniness, it's raunchiness. I swear to God, this game is hilarious and plays very well. And it looks really good too. Lots of different stages to explore, collectathon in its own way. And you're not going to have and this isn't a super duper cheap game on the Genesis, but it ain't outrageous either. But you're going to have a good time playing yourself some Toe Jam and Earl, Panic on Funkatron. So big thanks again, Dr. Scott, and everybody else who came along on this collab. I always enjoy doing these, and definitely invite me to the next one. So until next time, everyone, stay safe out there.
I got asked, like, what was the console that I would recommend to a person? Well, the console in the game that I would recommend to a person for them to start their retro journey. And I will have to go with something super nostalgic just because it was comfortable. It was the best thing. I could take it anywhere. I was playing everywhere with it. I took it to school, and you're not supposed to do that. I love this console. I love this console. Even though I don't have the Reno, I have the other version, and I think it's the same thing, and I would recommend anybody to get the other version, and it's not other than the Game Boy Color or the Game Boy normal, but the Game Boy, just the Game Boy. And what game I would recommend to start your journey with this? Oh my God, do I really have to say? Do I really have to say? Do we have to go that way? Come on, it's not other than Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening is one of my favorite, most beloved games ever. I love the journey. I love the dark story. Even though people don't think there's a dark story, there is a dark story, like a really, really dark story if you look at it. I just love everything about the game. I fell in love. I thank God they did a remaster, a reboot from it, and for the Switch, and it was such a good game. It is a good game. I had defeated this game so many times, it's just not funny. It's just like, I'm obsessed with this game. Like, I love this game to death. Anyway, so the Game Boy, the console that I would recommend. Why? First of all, man, you can take it anywhere. You want to go to the park? You can take your Game Boy. You want to go to the beach? Take your Game Boy. You want to go to the mall, even though you're supposed to be buying stuff in the mall. You want to go to the mall? Take the Game Boy. There's no losing with this. There's totally no losing. Besides, okay, I know a lot of people are gonna go like, yeah, but you have to have the light. Yeah, I understand that, but you know, it's just the comfortable. You can take it anywhere. I used to remember going into school with it, and the teachers are getting angry at me because they saw me playing the Game Boy. But I was obsessed with the console. I like the console. I enjoy the console. That's why I'm so obsessed with the Switch. It was comfortable. It was a console that you can take out anywhere you go and play it. Same as a Switch. That's why I am so in love with the Switch. So yeah, that will be my recommendation for a console that you should have in your journey, or you want to start collecting, or you want to start as a retro gamer. Yeah, this too. And the best one, if you want to go a little bit further, try the DX version with this. It has an extra dungeon. It's called the Color Dungeon because of this console. It was great too. Like, it was great. It was great. I'm telling you, the Link's Awakening, best game ever. Anyway, that was it for this part. I hope you enjoy. Bye.
Wait, don't go anywhere. You want to hear my awesome picks, don't you? So my awesome guests have some great choices, but I'm going to give you a bit of a curveball. If you follow the channel, in which you should, you might think I'd recommend a couple of games from the Atari 2600, and you'd be incorrect.
No Atari for you!
With all of those incredible retro console picks out there, I've had plenty of time to think about this one, and my choice for the best retro gaming system might surprise you. I'm going with the Xbox 360. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. The Xbox 360, is that really retro yet? But with its North American launch back in 2005, it's officially over 20 years old, and it's the perfect entry point for a few reasons. First off, the game library is absolutely massive. Second, it's cheap to get into. You can find the console and games at a great price. And finally, its backward compatibility with a ton of original Xbox titles instantly expands your options. For all of those reasons, the Xbox 360 is my pick. Now let's talk about the game that I think you need to play first, and let's focus on the game exclusives for the Xbox 360. I do want to assure you that I am feeling absolutely fine, and I will not be choosing a Halo game, as that would be an absolutely obvious pick.
Wait, you two boy. Did I hear you say you're not recommending a Halo game?
No, Chiefy Poo, I didn't say that specifically. It's sort of like milk and cookies. If you're having cookies, you have to have milk. Unless you're lactose intolerant, that is. And Halo games are standard issue with the 360, so shut your space pie hole.
Fine. See if I save the Earth anytime soon. I'm out of here.
The first game that I think that you should have as an Xbox 360 owner is Gears of War.
That's right. Suck it, Master Chief.
Thanks, Marcus. Gears of War didn't just define a genre, it created one. This is a game about massive muscular soldiers fighting a monstrous alien race called the Locust, and it's all about one thing: cover. You'll stick to waist-high walls and broken pillars, blind firing your way through the hordes of enemies before popping out to get a clean shot. The combat is visceral, with a satisfying weight to every action and a chainsaw bayonet on your rifle that became a legendary finisher. I gotta tell you, if you've never played this before, well, you are definitely missing out, because this is the reason why I even bought an Xbox 360. The game introduced a now famous active reload system, rewarding you for perfect timing with extra damage. The co-op campaign with the friend is an unforgettable experience, and the multiplayer mode laid the groundwork for competitive shooting on consoles for years to come. And if that's not enough to send you over the edge and get your money out, it's got a riveting story that weaves through the series. Plus, the two main protagonists, Marcus and Dom, are the best of friends, and their banter throughout the game is hilarious and fun. It's a game that is pure action and spectacle, a showcase of the Xbox 360's raw power and gritty sci-fi military fantasy. If you want a game that feels truly next-gen and delivers non-stop thrills, Gears of War is the one.
Control, this is Delta.
And the second game should be something quite different, not just another shooter. And it would be too easy for me to just throw in a racing game. I got it. Let me introduce you to Alan Wake. Man, talk about a game that sticks with you. I remember playing Alan Wake on the Xbox 360, and wow, it got my heart pounding. This isn't your typical run and gun. You play as a writer, Alan Wake. Yes, he's just a writer, and he's on vacation in this creepy little town when his wife mysteriously goes missing. Suddenly, the horror stories he writes about start coming to life. The gameplay is all about using light as your weapon. You have to start blasting enemies with your flashlight before you can even scratch them with your gun. It's a constant, tense fight for survival. The atmosphere is thick, the story is a total head trip, and the episodes feel like you're playing through a TV show. Seriously, if you're a fan of psychological thrillers and games that get under your skin, this is an absolute play. So while Gears of War gives you all the high-octane action the Xbox 360 is known for, Alan Wake provides a more cerebral, atmospheric experience that's unlike anything else. It's the perfect game to settle down with on a dark night, and one of the best reasons to own an Xbox 360. Wow, what a lineup of choices. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who participated in this collaboration. Check their links below in the description. It's been awesome to see all of their recommendations. We'll see you very, very soon. And that's our show. If you had a good time, be sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like. To keep watching, check out another episode right here. Thanks again for watching.